get to our big story now. Oregon lawmakers are out of session right now and won't meet again until January. But things haven't been so smooth in the legislature over the last several years. Do you remember all those Republican walkouts? Well, a group is trying to prevent those from happening again. Now, before we get into that, let's make sure we are all on the same page. So how did we get here? In 2019, Republicans didn't show up for work to keep Democrats from voting on a bill aimed at reducing carbon emissions called cap and trade. You might remember the big rallies involving log trucks at the state capitol. Loggers and farmers were worried cap and trade would affect their fuel prices and their jobs. It was a bold move, but Republicans had seen it work before a month earlier when they used the same tactic and got Democrats to scrap gun control and vaccine bills. These walkouts work because Democrats have the majority in both the House and Senate. And if they all agree on something, then there's nothing the GOP can do to stop it. Unless they stop the vote entirely, which is what a walkout does. If there aren't enough lawmakers present to vote, they don't have a quorum, meaning no one can vote. In 2020, Republicans walked out again when Democrats took another run at cap and trade. To be fair, Republicans didn't invent this move. Democrats have pulled it themselves. They walked out over a redistricting bill in 2001 when Republicans had the majority. Now, Governor Kate Brown was the Senate Democratic leader at the time and was part of organizing it. The only thing that can stop a walkout is a 2/3 supermajority when the state elects so many people from one party that they can make a quorum without the other party even showing up. Democrats would need to gain several more seats this November to reach that 2/3 mark. But a group called Hold Politicians Accountable just submitted enough signatures to get a new initiative on the ballot. It would disqualify any lawmaker with 10 or more unexcused absences from running for re-election. And that's how we got here. All right, so now that we're caught up, we can tell you this afternoon, we talked to a spokesperson from the group Hold Politicians Accountable. They got more than 183,000 signatures for their initiative petition. That's way over the threshold needed to get something on the ballot. And that has them feeling pretty optimistic.
It's the most signatures that any measure has ever turned in Oregon. Right now, it's with the Secretary of State's office. They have several weeks to verify all the signatures and make sure that they are from registered voters. We expect that to be done in the next couple of weeks, at which point we'll really start kind of re-engaging the campaign.
Yeah, she also pointed to a poll from last year that found 84% of Oregon voters are in favor of punishing lawmakers who walk out by disqualifying them from the next election. And 78% said they also support fining those lawmakers or just taking away their salaries.
I think it's just really intuitive for people. Like, they understand the premise of if you don't show up to work, if you no call, no show to your job 10 times in a row, there's no way you would get to keep your job. And I think people are really sick of politicians who think they can play by their own rules and want them to be held to the same standard, if not the higher standard than the rest of us. We elect them to do a job, and the least they can do is, follow their oath of office and do the constitutional duties that are required of them.
She says they have not encountered any big opposition groups to their ballot measure just yet, but Republican lawmakers likely are not in favor of it. In the past, they've said they've had no other option than to walk out and have framed the tactic as a protest to stick up for their constituents.